Back again with another video. So we're going to talk about the good Dr. Umar Johnson again. It appears he's losing his school, which means he did in fact have a physical location, which he was trying to turn into a school, I guess. But and this is quite unfortunate because I was rooting for him, being that he talked a good game. And that's another thing. This doesn't discredit him pointing out certain injustices or facts in the past just because he in this jam right now, or if he was grifting. This doesn't discredit that. But that's another thing, and I mentioned this about people slanging God and things such as this, giving a black eye, especially in fact if he was grifting. So let's talk about it. Now, Umar Johnson, I guess, recently posted online that due to back taxes and some other stuff, they put a lien on a property without him knowing, and I guess they was trying to sell it according to him. So let's break it down. Well, and I mentioned this before about the bureaucratic red tape one must go through to start a school. Not saying it can't be done, because it gets done. Now obviously, according to Umar, he was lacking funds, and it's been quite a while since he's been trying to raise funds. And according to the paperwork, a cool little piece of change then passed through his hands in the form of donations toward this school. Now, over the years, as we know, well, some of us may know, I guess he had that property, which was the school. Now, for the longest, it was abandoned, because that's what they saying. It was vacant. The city was saying it was vacant, and he wasn't up to par on the taxes or fees or whatever, administrative fees or whatever. So if it's vacant, now don't get me wrong, man, because I understand that real estate and owning property, and you gotta protect from vandalism and all that. That's what every property owner go through. That's with the whole insurance and all that, etc. But I don't know, the way they putting it is if like y'all just had it there, threw some paint on it, and it wasn't too much jumping off. Now, I believe he did show some, over the years or whatever, some scenes of footage from the inside of the school. So I guess it looks like a school, but it obviously ain't up to par in a lot of ways. And he mentioned this before, as far as I forgot what he mentioned, but he mentioned this before. Y'all know. Now, one thing I want to know is, and this will make the difference in a lot of ways, if this was spearheaded because he recently went viral, so to speak, regarding the school. A lot of attention in the city kind of did some old, not even some old research, not even dug on it, just looked at it and was like, oh, you know what, you behind, let's get this. Is it because of that, or is it because, according to him, he's saying some people took it to give it to the, what do you call it, the YouTube something, about, I guess, a lot of podcasters speaking on him or something. Or I'm not even sure if it's a particular group or circle of people that supposedly he opping with, and he's saying somebody stole the paperwork or something. So, see, this the thing, Umar, just, oh man, because I was rooting for you. But see, it's one thing, and before I continue, because if in fact they targeting him because of what he talking about, or he black, as he alleged, is some racism, then that is a problem. Now, I ain't saying everybody go hoop and holler, but no, something needs to be done because that can happen to anybody, including you. That's why that matters, regardless of who he is. Damn him, just period. So, if in fact that's what it is, then that's an issue. Now, if in fact he just didn't keep up on them payments and the bureaucratic red tape that you got to go through, then hey man, that's your fault. And see, some of the things is because I heard from other people or from other videos, the people that have dealt with them or asked to volunteer some things or money, funds, supply. Well, not funds, he took that, but as far as supplies or help, he turned it down. So Umar, you should be sharp enough to know, man, and this, everybody should know this, but everybody don't. But anyway, being smart is knowing you gotta hire people smarter than you, or hire people that may specialize in something, and not even only because of they skill set in it, which is probably the reason you hire them in the first place. It's just that you don't got the time, And I'm seeing that here just doing this. A lot of my podcasts, a lot of these videos, y'all, be on the fly. I'm freestyles on the fly, so a lot of my edits be rough cuts because I'm learning on the fly. And then I know you got AI, got a lot of stuff, but I'm still doing the forework by myself. Now, at some point, I will employ people at some point, definitely. Sooner than later, but I will probably contract first other than employ. See, that's the difference. But anyway, as I was saying, as far as Umar ass, y'all, man, if you didn't pay them fees, man, that's your fault. And okay, because he mentioned in this video that they paying, what he say, $30,000 a month for a water bill that they not even using. Now, I don't know if he required, I'm assuming he had to put that money up front, the 30 bands, whether you run up the bill or not. And then maybe at the end of a quarter or whatever, you get the difference, if any. If it's something along them lines, then okay. But Umar, man, for one, man, you knew this was all coming. Now, I haven't been watching too much of your material, if any, not for no particular reason, but you should have been mentioning this prior. If you asking for donations, instead of say built a school, okay, this particular amount needs to go to this. Like you saying now you need some money to go to this fund by such and such a date. Now, how we know that ain't a grift? Or how we know why should we even, and I'm rooting for you, but why should we even keep hope alive with you if it's a sham and the school ain't gonna never get finished? Not quite. It's always gonna be something. Now, obviously, you trying to do something, I'm going to assume. I'm going to give you the benefit of the doubt. Now, you probably, at this point, incapable of pulling it off. And, funds is one thing because that happens to anybody. It happens to a lot of people as far as lack of funding. But I'm talking about as far as the mental business acumen. And I'm not even trying to insult your intelligence, brother, but again, sometimes you gotta hire people smarter than you, or console in people smarter than you. I'm not sure exactly, but again, as you say, somebody stole some paperwork or whatever, and see, man, I see all that spells, incompetence. And I'm not perfect, but I'm honest enough to tell the truth and not to sugarcoat nothing. And I mentioned this before, I'm not gonna be smoking and tell a kid it's okay, or try to justify, doing it, or getting smoking weed or whatever. No, you perform better when you sober. Period. So same along with that. But yeah, man, My bad, y'all. But I was rooting for you, Umar, because for the most part, you seem like a brother that wanted to do something right. You was pointing out a lot of injustices and things. Now, obviously, you didn't, and I mentioned this in a prior video, you didn't provide a bunch of solutions, but I'm not really holding you to that, man. You want to do a school that's good enough. But I don't know, man. Or was you grasping what you really was trying to do and what that encompassed, as far as when it comes to the city, the administration system, as far as what things you gotta have in check, not even just the funding. Did you have the staff ready? All that type of stuff. This is a school, man. Did you have potential parents willing to allow their children to attend there? Now, I don't know. Maybe over the years you may have broadcasted this thing at once upon a time. But these is things you should have been running through your mind, man. Like, period. Like, right now, and And I seen on the video I watched, I believe somebody made a comment like, what you doing all this traveling for, talking about raising funds, you need to be back, where is it, in Delaware, trying to see about that school. Obviously, if somebody got in and stole the paper, talking about the paper left in the front, that's the problem. It's left in the front. What it's doing in the front? Outside the building. Yeah, that's basically a bando. What you got somebody to stop by every now and then or something? That, nah, I can see, and and again, you may be right, because obviously us black African American, we definitely gonna get put through way more scrutiny with anything. So you already know that's gonna make it easy for them. Oh, and he's black. Oh, yeah. So that type of, you already know that's the world we living in. That was your job, pointing out this stuff. So you should have knew what was coming and how they coming. Or Umar, man, shit. Like I said, man, I was rooting for you, man. To that extent, you get to school. Man, I don't even know what your curriculum was, what you was gonna be teaching them. But I was rooting for you regardless. So, and who's to say he may get the funding? Maybe somebody may pull him to the side and be like, "Hey, man, what exactly is you trying to, Because he didn't even mention, he got the non-profit, and I ain't even about to get started on that. But he got the non-profit, and he said something in the bylaws, not the bylaws, but something in the law, not the bylaws, but where a non-profit got, I guess, a window period of time before they got to pay the fees or whatever. Okay, well, Umar, what was you doing with the income and cash you was getting? And, cause it look like a lot of that money is spent on them trips. Now, I ain't saying you flying or Greyhound bus or whatever, but why wasn't you asking for the donations for that and pointing that out, being more transparent with folks? Like, hey, man, this is going to the electric bill. I'm gonna show you the amount. I ain't gonna show you all the information, but I'm gonna show you this is the actual electric bill. This is what they want. If it's like that, bro, So I don't know, but them things you should have thought about, Omar, man. You speaking that, and have to say it like that, because it ain't nothing wrong or illegal about what you're talking about. You just pointing out the injustices and all that, and we need to stand on our own too as a group. Yeah, for sure. Now, I don't agree with everything you say, especially of late. A lot of stuff, in my opinion, people say for shock value views. I get it, but point is, man, it's starting to look like you're scamming, even if you ain't, because you ain't getting it done. And yeah, you should have, because I'm sure you're gonna say all the money donations was spent to this, like the 30,000 water bill and all this and this and that. But any overage, even in account for your living expenses. Now, I know that's accounting and all that, and that's a little complicated for most folk, but you should at least have something tucked, even put in some type of bond or anything. Not even necessarily a bond, but just some type of money market account or something to hold that money. I don't know, man. But then again, see, you're a non-profit, so then you up under them rules, and I ain't even gonna get into that. But you a non-profit, so you gotta go by that, this and that, and that's why the IRS up on you. Now, it would be a shame if this social media hype turned up the heat on Umar. That's not cool. And as we know, they are watching. So, and I'm not sure what's in store, but they taking the school. Now, I know some videos prior, I think, talking about the IRS was on him, and you already know they don't play. If you don't know, you gonna know. So, but you can work with them though, but that's the city taking that school. So, you better be trying to holler at some attorneys or something, man, or type in Chat GPT, man, open AI and ask them a question, man, and try to figure it out. You might lose that school, and that'll be a shame. And you mentioned you ain't gonna stop and all that, and you shouldn't. But I don't know, man. It's just folks is losing faith in you, Umar. And as I mentioned earlier, you talk a good game, and this doesn't discredit a lot of the good things or honest things you said in the past. Although a lot of people gonna be like, cause you bullshitting on this school. So that you gonna have to deal with that. But I'm letting people know it don't discredit certain truths and stuff. Now, not everything he said, because I don't even know what everything he said, but you get what I'm saying. But people losing faith, man, because if you ask me, you put your all into this school, which is okay, cool. You want to focus on one thing at a time, and that's what I need to do more of. But you seem like every time we hear you talk, that's what it was about. Asking for money to get this school so you can set it off like a rocket. Now, alright, man, it sounds good in theory, I guess, but in actual practice, it's a lot more complicated, ain't it? But again, man, I was rooting for you, man. I'm still rooting for you to that extent. Like, I don't mind you getting to school now. Again, now I would probably want to know now, especially because you having problems with this. And again, it ain't the money problem, because a lot of people, quality people, or people know what they doing running the money issues. But I'm gonna need to know more about that curriculum, and of course the staff. And again, man, you a brother, man. You look like us. We already gonna get faced with most scrutiny. They gonna be looking for a reason, any reason. And you talking upliftment, which shouldn't be a crime. It ain't a crime, but we know racism exists in America. It's alive and well, unfortunately. You know what I'm saying? And no, not everybody's that's white race. Now, you know what? We'll cut that. That ain't got nothing to do with this video. But again, Umar, I kind of really don't know what to say, man. But you're not looking good, and this could be a lesson for people, man. Especially when you asking for dough, especially to achieve a certain goal. You better be very transparent, man, and you better get it done. If you can't get it done, you're struggling, man, you better let people know step by step, or whoop or whatever. I had some type of, or something. You see his donation, so there ain't no refund, so this could look like con, y'all, because a lot of con artists, or a lot of scams and grifts, they use the same vehicles to perform maneuvers, so to speak. So even if he doing it or not, like I said, that is a small playbook of how I go. Now, and of course, not every sham and scam, but that that can fit the description of one. being that you do got something to show for it. You got a school, they taking it, so it ain't like you didn't go too hard like a lot of these preachers. You know what I'm saying? Although it's looking like you just slanging God, but I don't think you got no Rolls Royce or nothing. But you got the school, man, and see, I don't know. Now, again, I would have to know that curriculum now, man. Being that you had issues even getting it off the ground, how I know you're gonna keep it running. If you're having issues now, see, Umar, and these are all the questions people gonna ask, man. Smart folk gonna ask now. A lot of people want to believe in you because you talk good game, and I'm like I ain't gonna say this is the end of you. It might be the end of that school, and you may be trying, like I said in the prior video, try something else. Because I don't think, even if of course you don't want to give up on your school, but a lot of people ain't trying to hear that, man. You talk about something else, man. Just start your podcast, man, and do like me, man. Talk, some of these current events or something, man. Do something, but and I can really elaborate, man, on not even Umar, but just a lot of people. But see, when it comes to what we think needs to be done as a people, because, and I spoke about this term in the prior video about what was the brother name, Lord Jamar, as far as the leading theory in things and certain facts or the sciences or whatever. So when it comes to that, Umar, and anybody that's listening, a lot of this talk we hear now, don't get me wrong, we definitely gonna address current events, things that's happening right before our eyes. But when it comes to the long haul or what needs to be done, y'all ain't even touching on the leading theory. You understand? And then he mentioned Black August. So he threw that in. And Black August, man, with that money, what did he say about the 25th? And I'm not trying to get up on him like that because we don't know, at least I don't know yet, if in fact they hating on him for the race, or if in fact, bro, you couldn't keep up on the stuff. Now he mentioned that clause as far as the non-profit, that he allowed a certain window to come up with the funds or whatever. Now if in fact that's that, then I'm assuming he had no problem getting that. But he said they've been trying to communicate and all. I don't know, man. I ain't even about to. I don't know, man. When that's your business, man, handle it, man. Handle it. That's all I can say, Umar. But I think that's enough, man. It's Bad News Brown breaking it down, man. I'm about to, get into some other things, man. I'm tired, man. Going gritting hard, man. It don't stop, man. Go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button and let me know what y'all think about this Umar thing, this whole situation. Now that it seems like he's losing the school, or are they taking the school? And again, they probably would love to take that school from him. They probably ride by, see them paintings, and I hope I'm wrong. But hey, y'all just let me know what y'all think, man. I'm out.